Welcome to The Voice of Retail. I'm Michael LeBlanc, NRF Top Retail Voice for 2026 and Rethink Retail 2026 Top Retail Expert. This podcast is produced in conjunction with Retail Council of Canada. Deb, welcome back to the Voice Retail Podcast. How are you?
I am great. Thanks so much for having me again. Really appreciate it.
2 years, almost to the day, April of 2024. We are here in your office.
That's right.
And so excited to be back and catch up. And congratulations, first of all, the impetus behind our time together. You're Distinguished Retailer of the Year from Retail Council of Canada. Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. So much appreciated. A surprise, and very much appreciated.
Well, we'll get to that a little bit later, but for those who may not know and maybe didn't hear our first conversation, maybe know less about you. Who are you? What do you do for a living? And then we'll talk about Longo, because there's lots happened in 2 years.
There's lots going on, I can't believe how fast 2 years has gone by since we last spoke. But yeah, Deb Craven and the president of Longo's. Started here, I guess I'm just celebrated my 7-year anniversary here. So started as a CFO, moved in through operations, store operations, supply chain, and then moved into the president role a number of years ago.
Yeah, excellent. Yeah. Now, I know Longo's very, very well. Mm-hmm. Shop it every Friday with my mom.
Excellent. That's right.
Who loves the Applewood store.
That. Yes, good.
It's funny, we went to a different store because we were at an appointment, and it was like I'd thrown her off a cliff. Couldn't go left, couldn't go right. Who are these people? What are these products?
Well, because you get to know the people so well at the store, and they get to know our guests so well, right? So she probably has all of her favorite people that she runs into.
Goes to this cashier and that. Anyway, it was all good.
Excellent.
But it has been a couple of years. What's gone on in the Longo's business?
In the Longo's business, a lot's gone on in the last 2 years. When I was thinking about this question, I thought, wow. It's quite eye-opening. So first of all, store growth. So we've continued to expand. We've opened a number of new stores. We are just about to open store number 44 in Welland. So that opens on June 24th. So it feels like a couple of weeks away.
Is that the farthest from the...
That will be the farthest away from...
farthest flung store.
Yeah, right? From our distribution center and from our core. So we're excited about it. It's an amazing opportunity for us. It is a market where we're not going to be as well known as we are when we open a store. For example, the last store that we opened in Etobicoke on the Queensway. A lot more people knew of us, knew our name, and had shopped at others of our stores. So we've been spending a lot of time getting to know that community, getting to know what's important in that community, and making sure that they get to know us. And then we'll just be working our butts off when that store opens and making sure that we just deliver the best service, that do what we do, right? And make an amazing experience for that community.
You know, off mic, we were talking about the challenges. I sometimes call it the diseconomy of scale of this vast nation of ours. But if you think about Ontario, I mean, you could drive for 14 hours and still be in Ontario. So it's a vast province, let alone country to operate in. How do you think about how to stretch a supply chain in these kind of different ways? Yeah. That's got to be a key to how far do we go before it breaks? I think you were in Cambridge before. I think that was probably the farthest.
We were in Guelph before, and then we opened a store a couple of years ago in Kitchener. So that kind of pushed us that little bit more west. The most north store we have is the one in Newmarket. Okay. And and then this will be kind of stretching ourselves that way. Well, when it's talk about what's happened the last couple of years, the foundation for supporting that kind of distribution is we took a look at our distribution center here. So when it was first built, it was built for the size of the stores that we had at the time. Sure. And then it was built for some growth. But then the company grew so much. And so our vice president of the supply chain, Rick, he was telling us for a number of years, it's time to expand. So we took a look at the numbers. We took a look at all the work that was going to be involved in that. It was a significant project, but it's what I love about working for this company. We're building for growth in the future. We're not building for the business that we have today. And that's what's so exciting. So we took a look at what our future looks like, and we actually doubled the size of our distribution center. Wow. So it opened in June of 2024, and so that was the foundation that gave us the ability. We had just a much better flow. We talked a little bit about my background in distribution. I was lucky enough to work at Purolator for quite a number of years, and I learned so much from that team. And I'm so appreciative. And one of the things I learned is a good setup for a distribution center. And this original one wasn't set up for the volume that we were doing. So we doubled the size of it. All the inbound trailers coming in on one side of the building, flow through the building, outbound on the other side. Such a better flow, better for our team members. And introduced, I'd say, a level of light automation So all that then enables our team to be able to service all of our stores on a much, I'd say, more consistent basis, and to service stores that are getting on a bigger footprint. And when you think about the geographic footprint that we're trying to cover.
Yeah, sure. Very interesting.
Yeah.
So, Distinguished Retailer of the Year. You know, I had this soccer coach that I coached with, and he used to say to the ladies on the team, listen, I'll buy you all a trophy if that's all you want. It's a trophy. But, you know, it's not immaterial to win recognition from your own industry. So could you talk about the role of just winning recognition? I mean, I was in your lobby, and you've got some Canadian Grand Prix trophies, for example. So what's the role of that kind of recognition practically? Does it help recruit talent? Is that you're seen as, you know, boy, these people seem to know what they're doing, so maybe that's a good place to work, you know?
Yeah. I think it's probably a mix of all of the above. I think the interesting part, if you were downstairs and had run into any one of our team members, no matter what department they work in, they would be aware of those awards, and they would be proud of those awards, and they would attribute all those awards, regardless of whether they were for our amazing meat program, our product of the year awards that we have, any of those, they would attribute it to the whole team. And I think that for me is what's so important about this award and all awards. It's that recognition that the company as a whole is doing something really well. And it's that pride that people have when they come into the building. Because this is not an award for me. People say that, but I truly do believe that. This is a validation, I think, of all the great things that we're doing as a company, and we're having fun doing it at the same time. We're supporting growth, we're creating jobs, we're creating great jobs for people. So I think that's what it's really an affirmation of.
You know, I think last time we were talking about modern leadership, my partner Steve Dennis had put out a book on leadership, and one of the things one of the big chapters is kind of pushing your ego aside and recognizing that at the senior leadership, you know, maybe when we were growing up 20, 30 years ago, you expected to have all the answers.
Right.
And that, I think now might be seen as like, no one has all the answers. And in fact, that doesn't make you a great leader.
Exactly.
Is that your philosophy as well? Is that how the team thinks about it?
It absolutely is. And I think the entire team feels that way as well. A really good example. So I was out of the office downtown earlier today. So I got in the office. I was driving into the parking lot, walking into the building, and it was probably about 11:30. Quarter to 12, and I ran into two of our team members that work in the distribution center, and they are two of the team members that I know will always tell me the good, the bad, what's going well. And so I love if I bump into them, if they're on a break, and I bump into them in the parking lot, and I happen to bump into them today. And I always know I'm going to pick up something from them that I'm missing. And sure enough, we're just about we are in the midst of kicking off our celebrations for our 70th anniversary as Longo, so it's so exciting. And these two are two long-term team members, and they said, hey, like, when are we going to have the celebration for the distribution center and the support center, like the building that we're in? And they said, we're seeing all kinds of things about the celebrations we're going to do in the store. How about everybody in this building? And I said, you know what, that is a great question. We've been so focused on making sure that we've got coverage across the stores, and we are yelling loud and getting all of our guests involved in the celebration. It's going to be May 30th, if everybody wants to get to our stores. May 30th, we're going to have a celebration across all of our stores. And it was just a good reminder that nobody has it all kind of in their head, right? It's like, good question. I'm going to go talk to the HR team that's organizing this, and then we will make sure that we're not missing that. I'm sure they've got it covered, but it says we probably haven't communicated it enough, right? So
yeah, the net of that conversation is, if you don't know, but boy, maybe there's an opportunity there.
Exactly. We've missed something in the communication, and we're learning. But so that's why I'm a firm believer in talking to everybody across the organization. Our strategy is really focused on a foundation of store at our core. So it's got to be all about what it makes life easier for the store, because they're the ones.
Hence the name of this building, which isn't called head office.
You're right. It's called the support center, and that's exactly it, because we're all here to support the store.
Yeah.
And that's what I love about it. And because the store is then where it comes to life for the guest. So we're not doing things to make the store's life easier, then we're not really doing anything to make the guest's life easier.
It could be that May 30th surpasses the Holy Cannoli event in terms of awareness. Who knows? That's a tough one to beat.
But anyone listening, May 30th, go to one of our stores, and the cake gets served at 11.
Nice.
Okay.
Let's talk about Retail Council of Canada for a bit. So they're the organization. What is it for Longo's and the organization to be part of a broader industry organization? You and I, again, were talking off, Mike, you were part of another organization that was, just counterparts talking about stores, but what role does it play in the positioning of how you think about the industry and your role in it.
Yeah. I think it brings together across all of retail, obviously. It brings together so many of the leaders and all of their team members. So it's an opportunity to share ideas. I learn so much. I spend a lot of time on the Retail Council of Canada website. There's so many amazing research papers. When you're looking for inspiration on innovation or who's doing what, they have amazing conferences where you can connect as an industry. And those are just incredibly valuable. The one that's coming up soon and at the beginning of June, right? Yep. That's going to be just incredibly valuable. I'm going to learn so much by just bumping into people. It's creating that ability to just kind of not have to have these formal one-on-ones with different people. You're in a room together, you're talking, they're talking about important topics that are important to all of us. And so I just really, really appreciate all of that. And as a smaller retailer, right, that we've got 44 stores, we're not always going to have all the resources that the larger retailers will have. And so having access to, like I said, the research papers, the connections, the interactions, it's invaluable, I think, for a company of our size.
Let's talk about in the time we have left, because I just squeezed into your calendar to get in. Since we've been last together, a lot's happened, as I said. So I want to hit on a few of those things and just get a few thoughts on them. And so, the partnership with the Empire Group was fairly new when we were last speaking. And how's that worked out for you? Is it one of the things I think we talked about was, the ability to have a, just a broader group of a shared service to do things like real estate. It's just, as you say, it's interesting how you describe yourself as a small retailer, because you're really part of a very, very big retailer, but you still act and think like a small retailer. But, there are some advantages being part of the Empire Group.
Yeah, I think everything that we talked about the last time in terms of the benefits of the partnership, all that has come true. So that's been a real plus. I think what I've learned as well along the way is that we're learning from each other. So there are a number of banners under the Empire banners, and we're all learning from each other. Everybody does something a little bit different. We all represent something different in the market, and we all have a potentially different type of guests that we're targeting. But there are a lot of fundamental things that we're all learning from each other. So I love that fact that they're stretching us to be better, and I hope that we're also stretching them to be better with some of the ideas that we bring to the table. And then I think as well, what I didn't appreciate last time we talked is the opportunity for our team members to participate in a broader group of talent and learn from each other. There are opportunities that our team members have to learn and develop that they wouldn't have had before. Again, in a smaller company, you're just not going to have those same amount of opportunities.
And the scale is very different, right? The scale and scope are very different.
So that's been a huge win, I think, for our team members as well. And I'd like to think for the team members amongst the other group of companies to learn from our team members as well. Huge plus.
It's not getting easier trying to define your role. How are you thinking about honing in on that unique customer?
We're lucky because, as I mentioned, we're celebrating our 70th, and so that planning for the 70th was a huge opportunity to look forward and look back. And part of the looking back for me, especially only having been here for the 7 years, is understanding kind of what the start of Longo's was all about and how it really hasn't pivoted from there and how much of a strength that is for us. So it's always been about local. It's always been about relationships with our vendors, with our guests, and with our team members. And so all of this kind of focus on local right now and buy Canadian, and it's all so important. And it's like we didn't have to pivot on that because that's just who we've always been. And it's just such a part of the DNA here that the family has always felt very strongly about. Treat others like you want to be treated yourself. Never sell anything that you would not serve to your own family. Do the right thing when nobody is looking, especially when nobody is looking. Those are the values that just haven't changed. And then how that translates, we're like, okay, that feels good. That feels like strong foundation to keep building on. What's it going to look like going forward? Because the guest is changing and the demographics are changing. So staying true to that Italian heritage, knowing that we've got a bunch of experts in that area and really kind of keeping that foundation true. And then also providing our guests with what other offerings that are true to their community. So that's the work I think we still have a little bit of work to do on.
It's interesting, right? Yeah. Because, if you think about the changing nature of the Canadian consumer in a couple of different dimensions. We don't have a lot of immigration from Italy these days, and we have price and affordability is
exactly
the number one issue. It wasn't irrelevant 2 years ago, but it does. We've had continued inflation. It's got to be more pronounced. I call it the stampede to value. Now you're not a value retailer per se, but you try to, I think in your assortment, describe value as well and present value, right?
Yeah, it is. It's focused on value and that link to quality, right? And some of the things we're doing is in our experience magazine that comes out once a quarter. We'll have menus there for the week where how to feed a family of 4 and under $100 for a week. Here's a week's worth of dinner menus. Things like that where we're saying it's the great products that we've always had. There is a ton of value there, and how to reduce waste and at the same time, be more economical but feed your family good, healthy food. And I would say a lot of people are at the Italian immigration. I agree with you there, but there's a lot of Italian curious, and so that's what I love about it, right? A lot of people coming into the stores and saying, okay, if it's got the Longo's name on it, these are people who know good Italian food. And I have we have the trust and we have the credibility with that, and so opening people up to that as well, even if it's not in their own background.
So we've been talking for 16 minutes. We haven't said AI yet.
Yeah.
These days, you can't spell retail without AI, so to speak. So, I think of it in two dimensions. There's the AI work that goes on to inside the four walls to make the organization more efficient in whatever way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
I'm a little less interested in getting into too many of those details. I'm more interested in how consumers and how you are working to understand how consumers are doing new discovery through AI, through these platforms. How are you guys thinking about that?
It is. It's so exciting when we have these conversations, and it's amazing how fast things are changing. But when you think about a couple of different things, the impact that certain trends are having on people's shopping habits. So you think of GLP-1 drugs. You think of the real changes in eating habits.
And it's a big week for that, by the way, because generic gets launched in Canada.
Exactly.
I was looking at some statistics in the U.S. If you look at the apparel category, double-digit growth year over year for years, and many attribute that to GLP-1s, the re-wardrobing, and it's driving just changes in. I was talking to Mars at Seattle, someone from Mars, and I said, "Well, how do you think of craveability?" And he said, "Well, our gum sales have never been stronger. Our chewing gum sales. It's so multidimensional."
Oh yeah, it has had so much of an impact, and so we're thinking a lot about that. We're seeing the change in the shopping patterns at our store as our guests are fitting into that lifestyle and having the impact of that. And then we think of the agentic, like the models where one day, well, it already happens now, where I will have recommendations sent to me through an agent to me on my smartphone about, it tracks my workouts, it tracks this, it tracks that, and then and if I say, here's the kind of diet I want to have, it will send me suggestions on a shopping list. And that's just going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. So for us, we're spending a lot of time thinking about how are habits changing, and how will habits continue to change? We don't know, but we better be looped in on the AI side using these agentic models to be able to say, how much is the consumer going to stay involved on a personal level in their shopping decisions, or how much are agents going to do this for them?
And how do you
we insert ourselves into that, right? So it's like, if you have that kind of lifestyle and you're looking for this, Longo's is where you want to shop, and here's a suggested shopping list for Longo's. We got to get on that very, very quickly.
I see risk in that because, talking to retailers like yourself, it's like another intermediary between us and the consumer that didn't exist 18 months ago in any practical way, shape, or form, and is moving pretty quick. And I have to think these platforms, you know what they say about these platforms, right? When they're free, you're the client kind of thing, right? So at some point, I feel like torn behind it, and you already see some of this pushback that, we got to manage these folks now, these platforms. So I guess there's a bit of push and pull for the marketing team, right?
It is. It's push and pull, and I think it's understanding how to get the best leverage out of it, and then to own what you can, and it's all about getting people into your stores, getting guests into your stores.
Yeah.
Because if you can do that through an agent, however they get in there, through a third-party delivery, if you're getting people in there buying things from your store, and trying things from your store, then you are going to have them fall in love with them, and then that will expand the basket from there. So I think we're going to have to control the things we can, and then deal with the trends. And
continue to figure out how to influence.
Exactly.
Get your Reddit page and Wikipedia page going up to speed. Last couple of questions. In the time since you've both been here in the leadership role and the time since we've spoken, anything from a leadership perspective that surprised you, and what are your one or two kind of key things that come out as, we talked about, want to making sure that everyone is aware of everything we're doing, and you can't do enough, it seems, to do that fast-paced. Right. But any surprises or anything, last lesson? I
think that what I've learned over, especially the last couple of years, is the importance of listening, which sounds so basic, but it's listening to every single team member. And sometimes what I've learned, learn the culture of your organization. So Longo's is a very lovely culture. Everyone here loves working here. We have people who have worked here for so many years, sometimes their only job in their career. And so sometimes when I first got here, especially when I first moved into this role, I would wander around and say, so what do we need to do better? What do we need to do? Everything's great, Deb. Everything's great. Like, it's such a nice culture. And so I really had to turn that around as I was talking to people. And if I'm out at stores, Deb, everything's great. It's so good. Everybody's working really hard. I'd say, okay, different question. If you could change 3 things, Mr. Store Manager or Miss Store Manager, what would you change? And you have to give me 3 things. And then usually they have to think.
It's a great approach. You almost you'd want to ask that of the customer, because of course when I'm wandering through the store, I look at things that like, I like that, and I look at other things. I'm like, I think there's an opportunity over there.
Yes,
you get all the associates thinking the same way in a positive way, right?
Yep, exactly. And it's about being curious, right? And getting the team members comfortable that it's okay to say the stuff. Like some of the stores I went to, when I posed the question that way, well, I guess sometimes the Wi-Fi isn't as strong in this part of the store as it is there. And so when I'm doing my ordering, sometimes it times out or I lose my connection. I got to redo my order. Well, that's a problem.
Sure.
And then I would come and talk to Eva, who runs our IT department. She's like, I had no idea. No one's given us this feedback. Okay, she had it fixed. Her and her team had it fixed the next day. So there is something about kind of encouraging people that it's not to speak their mind, bring forward ideas, and it's about being curious. It's about learning more about what people do and what makes their life, easier, so that again they can focus more on the guest. So I always knew that intellectually. I don't think I realized just how important that is until the stuff I learn is incredible when you ask that question. So yeah.
Last question. It's a funny kind of question for an organization like you that's moving and expanding so quickly. But what's next?
Yeah.
Welland.
Beyond.
Okay. What's
more
Welland.
stores? Yeah, more stores after that. Yeah. And I think for us, it's going to be about infilling in the geography we're already in, where there's amazing opportunities, but then continuing to get our brand known on a broader and broader basis. So Welland, as I said, will be a really good activity for us. We're really excited about that. And then I think it's going to be a continuation of using the tools that we have that we've invested in to, again, make sure we're focused on the guest experience. We just, the Leger Wow survey came out fairly recently, and we were so happy to be number 1 in that. And that's all about guest experience. And I think for us and the team, it's about, okay, that is amazing. We celebrate for maybe a minute, but now it's about what do we have to do to make sure we stay in that position going forward. And it's going to be about innovation. That's going to be a huge focus for us. Protein, like the drive for protein, the drive for fiber, like where are those eating habits going? Trying to get ahead of them as much as we can. Make it fun, make it innovative, make it something they can't get anywhere else. And that's what a huge part of our focus is going to be.
Well, looking forward to seeing you on the stage June 2nd in the evening at the Excellence of Retail Awards. Right. And if you're listening to this podcast, run, don't walk, and get your tickets and share in the fun. It'll be a great room, as always, and it'll be wonderful to see you take home the hardware. So thanks again for making time in your day to sit and chit and chat with me.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate it.